Hey everybody, thanks for joining us. I'm Pierre, he's Chris, and we are the Fantasy Football Endgame, and we're here to talk about our favorite boom plays of the week. These are the guys you put in your lineup, and they could go off, maybe be one of those week-winning plays for you. So we're going to give you our favorite at all positions. Before we get into that, check out all the information down below in the description. We have multiple links that you might be interested in if you want to join us all season long. There's plenty of ways you can do that. But let's get to our booms. So, Chris, start me off with a player that you think is just going to go off this week.
I'm going to say Stefon Diggs is going to boom this week. And I know Stefon Diggs seems like an obvious pick, but he hasn't boomed at all this year. He hasn't been terrible. He's just been kind of okay. And, we saw Emmanuel Sanders boom last week. We've seen, Zach Moss boom this year. It's time for Stefon Diggs to boom. No better place to do it than against Houston. I know Houston's been kind of better than we think, but DJ Moore just boomed against them last week. So I got to think this is the week we saw last week was the get right week for Josh Allen where he boomed. Now it's Stefon Diggs' time. He's going to boom in week 4.
I hear you there. Now, Najee Harris also hasn't been a guy who's lived up to expectations, certainly not mine, because that offensive line is just not good. We were worried about it heading into the season, and there's been nothing to change our opinion on that. He's just not getting a lot of time. He's been hit behind line of scrimmage more than any other running back, averaging less than 4 yards per carry. Not his fault, okay? But still, that worries you in fantasy. Team context matters. Well, luckily, the Steelers have figured something out. He's also a really good receiver, and because partly Deontay Johnson was out, and then Juju Smith-Schuster also out for part of week 3, leaving with a rib injury. And so who was the main receiver for the Steelers? It was Najee Harris. 14 catches on 19 targets, which is insane for a receiver. And now think about the fact this is their running back. So 102 yards just receiving. That's going to more than make up for any deficiencies in his rushing production. And oh, by the way, he's still the only running back who touches the ball for that team. So workhorse, yes. Not a very good offensive system that he's in. Not what we expected from a Steelers team that we used to think was a running back factory. Didn't matter who you put back there. Well, it matters now when the offensive line is no good. But still, the fact that Harris is seeing all those targets, that's a great sign. That's going to keep his production afloat. And so going against Green Bay, I'm not too worried. I think he's actually going to be more involved because, well, still hurting at wide receiver. No word yet on whether Johnson or Smith-Schuster are going to play this week, but they finally figured out Najee Harris is their best weapon. And so I feel really good about him getting even better as the season goes on. All right, Chris, give me another player that you like as a boom play.
I think Logan Thomas is going to boom. He's playing pretty much every snap, running the route on pretty much every pass play, and now going against the Atlanta Falcons, who prior to last week had given up 3 touchdowns in the first 2 games to tight ends. I know there's talk about Curtis Samuel potentially coming back, but I don't think he's ready yet. And even if he does play, I don't think he's going to play a ton of snaps. So you got to think Logan Thomas is going to be highly involved. And like I said, against this Atlanta defense that has been really bad against tight ends prior to last week against the Giants, you got to think Logan Thomas in a boom spot should definitely, has a great chance for a touchdown, get plenty of catches in this one. So if you got Logan Thomas, feel good about it. He's going to boom in week 4.
I feel pretty good about that. I think Thomas, being slept on a little bit going into the season, still going to be a solid top 10 tight end. That's worth something. All right, so revenge game alert. I feel like we should have some siren or some kind of signal. I love me some revenge game narratives. No, seriously, Corey Davis going against the Titans, not a big deal. But look, Corey Davis, I know he let you down last week. The whole Jets offense has let everybody down in the last couple of weeks. Davis just looked bad. It's not all Zach Wilson's fault. Yeah, he's a young quarterback. He's still learning. But Becton, their best offensive lineman, out for a while. That offensive line was shaky to begin with. Okay, so I get that you probably want to avoid this Jets offense altogether. But the Titans, not exactly, a defensive stalwart, especially in the secondary. And, a good thing about Corey Davis, he still got 10 targets last week. He is their main guy there. He will be productive at times. It was a tough matchup also against Denver last week. Much easier time now against the Titans. Yeah, Davis have a little extra motivation, but more important, there's going to be less competition for targets because now Elijah Moore is banged up. Jamison Crowder still hasn't played. Who knows what's going on with him? So I think we could see a big game from Davis for all those reasons. So I'm tentatively plugging him back in as a wide receiver 3 this week, but I really think there's potential for a big game, just like he had in week 1. All right, let's keep it going, Chris. Another guy that you really like this week.
I'm going to give you another tight end, and it's Noah Fant. A couple of reasons to really like Noah Fant this week. Number one, unfortunately, KJ Hamler, you talked about it in our wide receiver must-start video, did tear his ACL out for the year, so that should mean more targets for Noah Fant. And also, they're playing Baltimore, who, A, not very good against tight ends, and B, unlike last week against the Jets, where they pretty much just, didn't even try to throw the ball unless they had to, they're going to have to throw the ball a lot this week. This isn't going to be a game where they're going to get up 3 or 4 scores and just be able to coast to the end of the game. You got to think this is going to be a competitive game. They're going to have to throw more than they probably want to, and that's good for the receivers, but also Noah Fant. So missing KJ Hamler in a game that should feature more passing against a defense that's not the best against tight ends, I think Noah Fant is going to boom in week 4.
That is 2 tight ends for you in one video. There's something, must be this like a full moon or something going on today. That's weird, Mr. Tight end shouldn't even be part of fantasy. So, all right, let's mark this down. Okay, I'm going to go with a receiver, and that is Terrace Marshall in Carolina. That could be a high-scoring game. And so Carolina also going to have to throw the ball more than they want because no Christian McCaffrey, and Dallas has a pretty good offense. Dallas also has a pretty bad defense, last I checked, especially in the secondary. They've got one good corner, and that's Trevon Diggs. He's going to be guarding, most likely, DJ Moore. Robbie Anderson, what happened to him? He's just an afterthought. I think it's, at this point, clear to say Marshall is the number 2 target here. And so unless something changes, something weird goes on this week, Marshall, who operates a lot of times in the slot, I think against that Dallas secondary, that's where the weakest spot is. So Marshall could be a guy that has sneaky value because what we've seen from the Cowboys so far is they've been able to be exploited underneath. And so Marshall, again, not get a lot of fanfare. He's probably rostered in a lot of leagues, not started in a lot of leagues. This might be the week to start him because this is a great spot for him. All right, let's finish out with one more each. Give me one more boom.
I had this guy either as a must start or a boom last week. I can't remember. And then he didn't play. And that's Elijah Mitchell, running back of the 49ers. Really didn't expect him to sit out. Obviously, as the week went on, it looked less and less doubtful. But I feel great about him in week 4. Look, I know Trey Sermon is your guy. I know you've been high on him. But he was getting out-snapped by Kyle Juszczyk, even around the goal line, even on early downs. I just really don't think Kyle Shanahan believes in Trey Sermon right now. And look, that may change as the year goes on, but I just get the impression Kyle Shanahan doesn't want to have to play Trey Sermon if he doesn't have to right now. So I feel fully confident that Elijah Mitchell will be healthy this week. They said he might be able to go last week, so it should be no problem this week. And he's going to be the guy. I just think Shanahan has more confidence in Mitchell. And you look at this matchup against Seattle allowing the 3rd most yards on the ground of any defense in the NFL. So this is a great matchup for the 49ers running back, whoever it is, who I think will be Elijah Mitchell this week. So don't drop him. Don't get rid of him because he didn't play last week. Give him another chance this week. He's going to boom.
Tell you who I'm starting to doubt. That's Kyle Shanahan. I don't know about this whole offensive genius thing. It seems like a lot of question marks there in San Francisco. But anyways, I'll take your word for it. I'm still keeping faith in Trey Sermon though. All right, so this last one, a little bit of a dice roll, I'll admit. But let's see, Tampa Bay in New England, it's all about Tom Brady. And to some extent, Gronk, I get that fine. So what about the other side here? Tampa Bay, we expect to do pretty well. Brady, of course, will be motivated. New England is not going to be able to do exactly what they want. That's control the ball and play it slow. They're going to have to pass. So what we've seen is Jacoby Myers is the target hog there. He's the guy who's the number 1 receiver. So that's an obvious play. What happened to Nelson Agholor? I thought he was going to be the number 1 guy here, and he's just been really quiet. Maybe just hasn't had that connection with Mac Jones. Call me a gambler. I'm going to try Nelson Agholor in some of my deep leagues, maybe throw him in defense line number 2. This is the guy who's their deep. They're going to have to take chances in this game. And that Tampa Bay secondary is all banged up, couple of injuries there. So they are able to be exploited. So I feel like instead of getting those 9-10 yards a catch with Jacoby Myers, I'm going to take a chance on the guy who could hit that home run. Maybe this is the week Agholor finally hits that deep ball connection with Mac Jones. So that's why I call him a boom play. He could boom. Yeah, he might not boom, but you know what? I think this might be the week. All right, guys. So hopefully you enjoyed that. We also have our bust of the week, so don't forget to miss that. And our must starts at every position. Look, each and every day we're here with new content to help you win at fantasy. That is our end game. Join us. Check out all the information I said in the description below and see what I'm talking about, ways that you can join our team. All right. Thanks for watching.